Hello. Over the past decade especially, we have seen many people on both sides of the Atlantic and elsewhere convicted of imaginary crimes. These people are overwhelmingly but not exclusively men, and the convictions are largely but not exclusively historical in nature. We have seen individuals convicted of crimes against multiple victims and occasionally acquitted. When juries are faced with multiple accusers telling the same or broadly similar stories, they find it very difficult not to convict. After all, can all these women really be lying? Can there really be all that smoke with no fire at all? In this short video I will answer those questions and explain to you how this legal sleight of hand works. First, I should point out that it isn't the police who convict people of crimes, it's the courts. But usually it is the police who gather the evidence, and if this evidence isn't presented in court, there will be no conviction. Indeed, there will be no trial. That's just to clarify that point for when my numerous detractors twist my words and use them against me. Now I'm going to show you a short video, less than half a minute. It has clearly been edited for length, but not by me, though I have removed the sound. I will put a link to the full video at the bottom of the page of this transcript. That was a traffic stop made in Palm Beach, Florida, late at night on February 26, 1996. At that time, dash cams were not used as widely as they are today, and their quality was very poor. Even so, it is clear that the motorist never stepped out of her car. The officer issued her a ticket and she drove off. On the full video, you can even hear their conversation. So what happened next? In the small hours of the following morning, the motorist went to a police station and reported an indecent assault. When I stepped out of the car, he proceeded to frisk me on the sides, pat me on my chest, and then he fondled my breasts. He patted me on my stomach all the way down and over my dress. He caressed my vagina. I felt very, very, very violated. You got that? Now imagine the camera hadn't been there. It would be she said, he said. And why would a woman lie? Now imagine again this woman had delayed reporting this imaginary indecent assault for 6 months or perhaps a year. The sexual grievance industry would have us believe women often delay reporting because they are so traumatised. Yeah, right. In this case, the district attorney, state attorney in Florida, he's running for re-election and releases her videoed accusation. There is no dash cam to refute it. So what does he say? This young woman was the victim of a serious sexual assault by a police officer. He might even name him. I believe there may be other victims of this officer out there. If you are one of them, please come forward. The sexual grievance industry loves that expression. Survivors should come forward and they will be believed. How many women do you think there are in Palm Beach, in Florida, or in the United States who have a grievance against traffic cops, police officers, government officials, or just men in general? How many do you think would come forward after such an appeal, especially if a reward were offered, be it a material reward or just the prospect of getting their names in the media along with some tea and sympathy? Let's say in this case 50 women come forward. The prosecutor reads their witness statements and associated police reports, decides 5 or 6 of them will appear credible to a jury. The officer is charged. What does the prosecution say in closing? You have heard from 5 women who have all told the same story about how they were indecently assaulted by this officer. They have shown great courage to testify against this powerful man. None of these women know each other. There are only 3 possibilities. One is they are all lying. All of them? Or this is an enormous conspiracy. Ho, ho, ho! I suggest, members of the jury, that the only realistic possibility is the third option, namely that they are all telling the truth and this man is guilty. How would you like to be in the dock when a prosecutor says something like that about you? Of course, sometimes the defendant is guilty. If a police investigation into alleged crimes of this nature is low-key, if there is no or minimal publicity, if the police take great care not to allow the testimony of one accuser to taint the testimony of another, then we can be fairly sure that justice will indeed be done. But when the police go trawling for victims, as they have done in the investigations of alleged historical offences in children's homes, and especially when there is a media frenzy such as Operation U Tree or the witch hunt of Bill Cosby, we can be certain injustice will result.